I never thought I would find it. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today I have some errands to run, so I thought we would do a little casual thrifting. The first thing I saw when I walked in was this table, which has been here for weeks. I keep checking in on it and the price keeps dropping. It's now $10, but for some reason it kept catching my eye and I could not put my finger on it until I found this West Elm table. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm thinking, is this mid-century modern style fluted table. And I just can't get it out of my head now to buy this table for $10 and then create this West Elm dupe. So let me know in the comments if you think I should do it, if it's still there. Because watch, with my luck, now that I've decided to do it, it'll totally get bought like tomorrow. Even though it's pretty rare that I find something I like in the glassware section to take home, I always look, and I'm so glad I didn't skip today because I found this dip style painted wooden utensil, and I know that's so simple, but I just have never thought to do this. And I have so many wooden utensils that I have found in this exact section. Like, watch, look how many I find right here. And I just have a whole collection of them, and I have never thought to do this with them. And I'm thinking bright colors for spring, or maybe even some fun metallics. I don't know. I love how thrifting, even if you don't find things you want to buy, you can still get some fun ideas for different DIY projects. I cannot believe my eyes when I saw these like brand new condition Target threshold chairs just sitting in the middle of the thrift store. They look perfectly new, and I looked them up. They're $270 a piece, but they wanted just $100 a piece. I didn't have a place for them, otherwise they would definitely be coming home with me. I feel like this section gets skipped over pretty often because it usually just looks like a bunch of outdated electronics, but when I do happen to find really useful things like hardware or lampshades I love, or even some like light bulbs or lamp kits or anything like that, it's always in this section, so I never skip looking through it, even though I typically don't find a lot. You know, I always look through the art in the frames, and on this particular trip I found this dried florals in a frame that reminded me so much of the one I just used in my fall decor makeover for only $4. I'm a little biased, I think I like mine better though. Even though this trunk is definitely not my style, I still couldn't help but look at it, and I thought it'd be super cute for like a kid's pirate bedroom theme, right? This thrift trip, I was really starting to strike out, and I just wanted to remind you that thrifting is not always a win. Sometimes you walk in, the shelves are overwhelming, and it looks like a lot of junk, and you don't find those treasures, but it's okay. Just keep going, keep digging, and you'll eventually find that special thing. One of the quickest wins when thrifting is the basket section, because there's usually a ton to choose from, different colors, shapes, and sizes, different functions, and you can use them for so many things. I've used them in my bathroom makeover. I've used them on top of my washer dryer to help organize and catch clutter. I've used them for styling. You can find them to fit any kind of need. Like, for example, these long thin ones would be perfect for like a thin shelf or on the back of a toilet, and you can pick the one that matches your style best. So if you are struggling to find that quick win when thrifting, try the basket section and you'll probably find at least one that you can use in your home. On the miscellaneous shelf, I almost took this guy home because I thought he was just a cool like shelf piece, but he actually wound up being like a wine cooler, which made it even more cool to me, but no pun intended. But I decided to leave him at the last minute. Also a super underrated section in my opinion is the vases. They usually have tons of different styles and shapes and sizes, and you can use them to give flowers to your family and friends for super cheap, since they're usually only a couple of dollars, or paint them and completely repurpose them. This might be a super unpopular opinion, but I actually like looking for faux greenery at thrift stores. Yes, they can be a little dusty sometimes, but if you clean them up, you can actually use them in your home to bring some life to it. And I've done this a few times, and people are usually pretty impressed by how real they look. I love the book section. I never know what I'm going to find. Sometimes I don't find the best things, but I love finding books for styling and for stacking lamps on and for using to decorate the different spaces in my home, and getting them at the thrift store for anywhere between $1 and $3 is always the most affordable way to do that. Okay, I want to show you something that I don't typically share, and that's because I'm pretty new to it myself, and that is thrifting for clothing. So I used to be pretty skeptical about thrifting for clothes until I got lucky with like a piece or two that just popped out at me. But since then, I've kind of loved looking, and I have found the best way to do so is to seriously touch every single piece and look through it, because otherwise you are going to miss the one piece that you want. So I love actually feeling the quality of it and knowing that I'm not just getting something that's kind of worn down or thin or worn through. I really like feeling it and making sure that I'm finding those quality pieces if I'm going to thrift it. Also, I love thrifting for items that I would not typically invest in myself. So like skirts, for example. I usually don't buy a lot of skirts just because I'm not sure if I'm going to like them or not. But if I'm thrifting it and getting it from anywhere between $1 and $5, I'm willing to try that new style. And the same thing goes for dresses, which could also be expensive. And so it just kind of gives you some freedom to play around with different styles that you maybe wouldn't have tried if you were spending full price. Oh, and don't skip the clearance rack. I had no idea thrift stores even had a clearance rack. But yes, there's actually a clearance section that is marked down even more than thrift store prices. So definitely check that out. It's rare I find something, but I have found a few key pieces. I mentioned this in my Thrift for Fall with Me video, but don't skip the bag section, because it is where I found my super cute woven bag that I used as a basket on my peg wall for fall. And ever since then, I have made sure not to skip the bag section, just in case I can find another cute woven bag to use as a basket around the house, or just cute bags in general. But just to prove my point, this one time alone I found not one, but 2 woven bags that would have worked just as well on the peg wall. So definitely make sure you're checking out the bag section. And I don't have a place for it or any kind of lesson, but I saw this as I was leaving and it caught both my eye and Josh's. I think it was the weird mix of the sailboat and the flowers, but it was fun. Okay, I totally struck out yesterday. And at first I was like, but what am I going to show them? I was sad that I struck out. But then I was like, no, I'm glad that I struck out on camera, because I feel like it's a more realistic interpretation of like how thrifting actually works. Like, I feel like with all the YouTube videos nowadays, you always only see the good hauls, which, I mean, that makes total sense. But in reality, thrifting is like you go all the time. Like, I've been thrifting like 3 times this week. I'm really glad that I struck out on camera, just in case there's someone watching that has never been thrifting before, or maybe they've been once and they totally struck out and it discouraged them. Like, just keep going, keep trying. It happens to literally all of us. That being said, I didn't want to leave you hanging without a haul, because it is a thrifting video after all. So I gathered up some of my favorite finds from recent unfilmed thrift trips to give you a never before seen thrift haul. So the first thing is the one thing that I found yesterday, and that was this white knit like tank sweater. I've just really been eyeing these because I've been eyeing like that knit material. It just feels really elevated and high quality, and I've been pinning tons of stuff with it on my Pinterest board lately. So
when I found it, I was like, you know what? Let's go for it, because there's no better time than a thrifted time to try out a new style for yourself. Obviously, I have this giant basket sitting here, which I probably should have started with it. So I found this on a thrift trip just a few days ago. It was probably this week. And it's kind of like a plastic, like an outdoor style basket, but it's huge. And it was only $4, $3.89. And I could not believe it. Like, I really don't need another basket, but this quality was great, and it's so big. And you know I love a good black accent. So I was like, we could totally use this outside, because you could just power wash it. And with it being the material that it is, being like a plastic weave, so loved this. And I was like, for $4, I'm never gonna pass up a big functional basket like that. Now, this is not for me. This is actually for my mom. I haven't told her yet. So if she's watching this, yes, I got this for you. But for less than $1, it is a little wooden candlestick, because she has had a little set on her table and she was missing a height. And she needed a third one with a different height, and I think this might be it for her, so I definitely picked that up for her. I also found this set of 6 wood napkin rings, and I have found a similar set before for more. They were more expensive than this. This set was $2, and I paid way more last time. But I also usually don't find a set of 6. I usually find like either a set of 8 or a set of 4, and we have 6 places at our table. And so I was excited to find these. They're just wood with like a little bit of a ridge to them. And so I was excited to find these, because we don't currently have napkin ring holders. I also always love to check the frame section. Y'all know that I'm obsessed with frames. I've used them in so many of our makeovers, and I love looking at the art. And I also have been collecting some gold frames to use for different things for the wedding. And so this just stuck out to me, and it's heavy. I know y'all can't feel how heavy it is, but it's kind of hefty. And so for $3, I loved this because it has both gold and like a little bit of silver peeking through. Can you see that? So I really loved the way that that looked with the two-tone, and I was excited about the quality of it being so heavy. Okay, this might be one of my favorite finds yet, because one, I never thought I would find it, because it's one of those things that I feel like anyone that bought it is never gonna donate or get rid of. And then two, I'm excited I found it, not because I personally value it so much, but because I know that everyone knows what this book costs. Look what I found. Yeah, the Magnolia Table from Joanna Gaines. I got this book for $2 because it's hardback. And you can usually get books either 50 cents to $1 for paperback or $1 to $2 for hardback. And this is usually a $30 to $40 book depending on where you buy it from. And so I was like, oh my gosh. Not because I personally have wanted it. I mean, I wanted it to decorate with, but it being a cookbook, I usually only invest in cookbooks that have like some health parameters that I personally would love to have some creative recipes for. And this is just like home cooking. But I was so excited because I was like, everyone will immediately recognize that, and they will understand how good of a deal this is to find it for $2. And it's in great shape. So I'm so excited to decorate with it, knowing what I paid for it. That's one of those things where it's just like the deal itself is so thrilling. So always check the book section because you might just find Magnolia Table one day. Okay, I'm gonna move this because I wanna show you some more clothes. So I wanna show you some more clothing finds because clothing is something that I was sleeping on at thrift stores until pretty recently. And lately I've really been enjoying hunting for it and exploring different styles that I would not have invested full price in, and then realizing that I actually really love it. So it just lets me be more playful without risking that investment, if that makes sense. One of my favorite finds to date for clothing has been this like suede shirt. I don't think it's real suede. I think it's like some kind of like micro fiber or something, but it's so soft. I love the color. It's basically made like, I thrifted this one too actually now, but it's just like an overshirt, but it's kind of done like a shacket. And I love the cut of it, the material, the color, all of it. Gorgeous. $5. All right, second, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen this. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should go follow me on Instagram. I'll leave the link in the description. But I shared this on my stories when I found it. But I've been pinning, like I said earlier, a ton of sweater material lately. And I had pinned this like sweater style skirt with a slit in it, which is nothing like I've ever worn ever in my entire life before. The color was probably the only thing that anyone would have pegged as being me. And, but I kept pinning like a lot of things that were similar to it. So when I found this skirt, I was like, that's literally my Pinterest inspo right now. And I just found it for $5.
I'm sorry, what? What? This is a knit skirt that I got for $5. Look at this. Don't tell me it's not this inspo right here. Like, don't tell me. That is crazy, right?
I don't know how much this skirt would have cost in store, but I was so happy just because I was able to recreate my Pinterest inspiration. That's the moment when I was like, wow, like I can actually start playing around with these images that I wasn't sure about or didn't want to invest in or things like that. And so, yeah, this skirt, one of my favorite finds to date for sure. One of the best finds in clothing has to be this little pink J. Crew skirt. I got it on the clearance rack. So that's a big reason why I wanted to show you the clearance rack yesterday, is because they're constantly rotating it and it changes day by day. But if you go on the right days, you can get the items for $1 or even 50 cents sometimes. So I got this J. Crew skirt for $1. So the last two items are also skirts, and that's because, like I said, thrifting is a great way to experiment with things that you may not have intentionally bought for yourself or invested into, because you may not be sure about how you like it on you or how much you're going to wear it. And so when you thrift it and get it for $1 or $5, you can feel better about experimenting with your clothing and seeing what styles you do like. And so I've been playing around with skirts lately. And so I found this jean one, which it's not anything brand, but it feels really good quality, and the acid wash on it is not something I would have ever purchased for myself. It's a little punky for me. I'm a little bit more like neutral and preppy, but I actually love pairing it and kind of like edging up some of my more preppy items. And it fits like a glove. It fits amazing. And so I actually really love having this little jean skirt as a go-to in my closet. And I only paid like $4 for it, I think. And then same thing with this little skirt. So this skirt is actually an altered state skirt, which I don't know if you have heard of the brand before, but my sister used to shop there and it's pretty pricey. And so to get this skirt for $5, I thought was awesome. And it's got this cute scallop detail, and the color is perfect for fall, and the corduroy, it's super cute. And so I was so happy when I found it, and I'm excited to try to wear it this fall and kind of branch out of my normal leggings and oversized shirt. But yeah, so clothing is just something I've been having a lot more fun with. It was something I used to be kind of scared of, like diving into the racks for. As long as you wash the things you can really well when you get them home, or like in the case of this suede shirt or some other jackets and things, I take them to the dry cleaner one time and then I just feel really good about wearing it, and they're basically like new for you. So definitely play around with the clothing if you haven't yet. It's something I wish I had done a lot sooner. But again, I want to remind you that all of these items I just showed you, the decor and the clothing, each of these was found on different thrift trips for the most part. So it took like 6 to 10 times to find this haul that I showed you just now. And so I just want to remind you, if you've been thrifting or if you haven't tried it yet, just don't get discouraged if you don't find anything or if you totally strike out like I did yesterday, because I go a lot and that's how I find the gems. And so just keep going, keep trying, and eventually you will find something that you love. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it encouraging and maybe refreshing from some of the other videos that you've been seeing lately, and maybe it re-inspired you to go try thrifting again. And if you did love it, please subscribe so that way you don't miss out on future videos and thrift hauls from me. and I will see you next time. Bye.